Critical thinking and standardized test performance. In a world where the average adult makes 35,000 decisions a day, in contrast to the 3,000 of that of a child, one could infer that decision-making is a necessary and essential skill to successfully function in society. Furthermore, successfully functioning in society now requires the new generation of students to embrace the modern information age, characterized by advancements in technology, a wealth of information, and a demand for critical thinking skills. These are the skills necessary to enter a highly competitive workforce. With the shift to technology advancement, STEM has become one of the fastest growing careers. The implication for teachers is that it has become even more crucial to prepare students for these STEM jobs, especially in mathematics. That begs the question, where is the U.S. in terms of preparing their students for this outcome? Relative to the rest of the world, the U.S. is still severely lagging behind the top achieving countries. According to the most recent data on trends in mathematics and science study, the top 5 achieving countries are still considerably outperforming the rest of the world, indicating that only 10% of U.S. 8th grade students demonstrated critical thinking as compared to 54% of students in the highest achieving country. Nationally, data showed that only 33% of U.S. students in the 8th grade were performing at or above proficiency level in mathematics. That is, 67% of students, or more than half of the nation's 8th grade students, are not meeting the standards. In response to the poor results of state, national, and international data, California has adopted the Common Core Curriculum, the STEM program, and joined the Partnership for a 21st Century State Leadership Network to address evident deficiencies and prepare students for the jobs of tomorrow. At the local level, there is positive movement and change. According to CAST data for 2015 and 2016, at ACMS, the rate of proficiency was 33% in 2015, increasing to 38% in 2016, exceeding the district, state, and national average of proficiency. It is apparent that this school is working hard towards preparing their students for a competitive world beyond the classroom. One key reform that has shown some success is the implementation of problem-based learning. PRBL is a teaching approach that requires students to investigate an authentic, engaging, and complex problem. However, the issue with PRBL is that it is still relatively unclear as to what kinds of teacher knowledge or instructional strategies are necessary to teach critical thinking skills. Integrating an approach that includes authenticity, rigor, and motivation does not automatically ensure that critical thinking skills are being taught. To be sure, critical thinking skills are necessary to complete the task, but the issue is determining whether or not there is a transfer of critical thinking skills to the students. A prominent problem that arises when students come up against cognitively complex tasks is that they struggle because they do not have the ability to identify what specific content knowledge they should apply. They fail to evaluate the effectiveness of their strategy or give up even when they have the necessary knowledge. Hence, students need to be taught how to think about math rather than memorizing formulas. What actually are critical thinking skills? Critical thinking skills include the ability to think reflectively and reasonably, analyze arguments, evaluate issues, problem solve, and self-regulate or think metacognitively. Some researchers go as far as to frame the entire act of critical thinking as a metacognitive process. Metacognition is comprised of 2 components, knowledge and regulation. Knowledge consists of 3 types: declarative, procedural, and conditional. Declarative knowledge is what one knows, procedural knowledge is knowing how one applies that knowledge, and conditional knowledge is knowing when and why to apply that knowledge. Regulation consists of 3 components: planning, monitoring, and evaluating effective strategies. Both are vital for problem solving. Let's visit the goal of this study. What does critical thinking have to do with standardized tests? The sad fact is, what gets tested gets taught. And now that the U.S. is in a global competition, standardized tests will be assessing critical thinking skills. How do we teach students to be critical thinkers in mathematics? Many studies show the development of metacognitive thinking skills have a positive impact on mathematical achievement and is a better predictor of problem-solving success than aptitude and can even compensate for low aptitude. That leads to the question, how do we teach metacognition? 4 effective research-based instructional strategies include explicit instruction using think alouds to model a broad range of contexts, examples, and applications in increasing complexity, metacognitive scaffolding and journal writing as self-regulation techniques, and Socratic questioning and seminars to promote social construction of knowledge and offer regular feedback. This study was a mixed methods approach, integrating a quasi-experimental design with a naturalistic study. The participants of this study included 60 8th grade students of diverse ethnic background, including 43.7% socioeconomically disadvantaged students and 8.3% English learners. 3 measures were used to gather data: a pre- and post-test, a Likert scale self-assessment, and a metacognitive journal. The pre- and post-tests were identical, comprised of multiple choice and short answer questions of varying difficulty taken directly from the official CAS practice test. The self-assessment assessed students' disposition and perception towards their test performance and confidence in their ability level before and after the treatment. The metacognitive journal documented students' ability to plan, monitor, and evaluate their problem-solving process, as well as their ability to apply different types of knowledge, declarative, procedural, and conditional. The results of a paired t-test showed an extremely statistical significance between the pre- and post-test scores, confirming more than 99% confidence level that the treatment contributed to the increase in student scores. Data from descriptive statistical analysis revealed that the treatment group improved 2.84 points, demonstrating a growth of 109%, while the control group only grew 27%. The self-assessment showed some improvement in student self-confidence, and the journals revealed that the students were demonstrating proficiency in applying metacognitive knowledge, but not regulation. Students still needed teacher prompting and feedback. Thus, the outcome of this study supports the hypothesis that metacognitive strategies lead to higher mathematical achievement on standardized test performance, implying that teaching students metacognitive strategies is effective for developing students' critical thinking and mathematical problem solving. Because the measures of the study were not designed to assess the growth of procedural fluency and only measured achievement, whether by rote or not, it is recommended that future study be conducted to determine the effects of metacognition on procedural fluency, defined as the ability to transfer procedures to different problems and contexts, build procedures from other procedures, and recognize when a strategy is more appropriate than another. Other studies, including this study, showed some positive effect on student self-confidence and disposition towards mathematics. A further study to investigate this is also recommended to explore how this can benefit students in the classroom. In conclusion, more in-depth studies are needed to determine how teachers can best support all students, especially the most vulnerable populations, in developing critical thinking skills as a way to address and close the achievement gaps. Thank you.